Okay, we'll begin lying on our backs in Shavasana. Surrender to gravity. This usually takes a little time, so just give your body a little time to drop. And noticing any macro or micro sensations as you give your body this time. Breath breathing you. Watching and listening to your present moment experience. Let's compare the two sides of the body. And you can start down at your feet. And just notice how your feet are oriented. Maybe the outer edge of one foot is closer to the ground than the other. You could take a peek if you can't feel that. Or you can notice which part of the heel connects to the floor. That's a good way to sense orientation of the feet. So you might be turned out more in one leg than the other. Letting awareness travel up to the calves, backs of the lower legs. Again, noticing the surface contact of calves to floor. Resist any urge to start dropping into stories about why things are the way they are. Just notice this bare bones experience of the way things are. Noticing orientation of your knees, maybe how much space there is underneath the knees, between knees and floor. You might have different sensations between the two knees on the inner knees. Sensing the weight of your thighs, how they meet the floor. The pelvis, is it tipped over to one side? Or is one side of the pelvis a little lower down relative to the rib cage? You might feel this as one side of your torso, one waist feeling more open than the other. Bringing awareness up to the ribs and the shoulder blades. Do you feel like you're a little tipped to one side, like one shoulder blade connects to the floor more or differently than the other? One shoulder might feel heavier than the other. One shoulder might feel closer to the ceiling versus the other. Notice how your arms land on the floor. Space beneath the wrists. shape of the hands. Weight of your head. Can you sense if your head is tipped a little to one side? That's really common. A lot of folks think their head is centered as a default, but it often isn't. That might be tough to tell, but you might be able to just open your eyes and see like, oh yeah, I'm looking a little bit off to one side. And then notice breath. All of this can be quite subtle, but you might notice breath a little bit more prevalent or felt in one side of the body versus the other, and one lung versus the other. And finally, sense the midline where the right and left side of the body come together. It's kind of unity of opposites. And let's keep this reflection or focus in mind throughout our practice, the two sides of the body and then where they unite in the middle. Beginning with the Baddha Konasana slide. So the legs are heavy, sliding outer edge of one foot toward the pelvis. You might pause for a moment and then slide the leg straight again. Let's alternate legs. Tracking sensation. So a lot of us get into this habit of saying, oh, that's my bad side or my bad knee. Please try to eliminate that kind of language and narrative and try to drop down deeper into more descriptive language. Oh, I feel a tightness or a pinchiness or a tingling on this side. The brain receives the message that we give it and tries to perpetuate it or make it true. So what you say to yourself matters. Alternating legs, noticing sensation, noticing maybe sounds the knees are making, how the weight is shifting. Different ranges of motion. One more time, or thereabouts, depending on your pace, each side. After your second side, let the legs stay straight and relaxed on the floor. And bring your awareness up to your shoulder blades, so on the back ribs. We'll work the shoulder blades individually, and I'd like to try drawing circles on the floor with one shoulder blade at a time. So the arm is pretty passive here and just like a floppy fish, but it's connected to you, so it's going to move a little bit. So let's begin retracting, shoulder blade moving toward the spine, either side. You decide which side you're going to start with. And then draw the shoulder blade down away from the ear. And then try to slide the shoulder blade away from the spine, away from the midline. And then up toward the ear. Describing the circle in that direction a few times. This might feel clunky, whether you've done it several times or never done it before. That's okay. The next time the shoulder blade is retracted, drawing in toward the spine, switch directions. So sliding the shoulder up toward the ear, shoulder blade away from the spine, shoulder blade down toward the waist. If there's parts of the movements that you're drawing not quite so circular, see if you can go a little slower in those areas to try to work the circular shape a little bit more. So it's 4 points on the compass essentially, but we're connecting them in a circular pattern. About one more time around. And then ending with the shoulder blade down, away from the ear, and kind of centered between pro and retraction, just whatever feels relaxed for you. And before we go to the second side, just notice if the side we just worked feels like more awake, alive, tingly. The other side might feel like it's a little sleepier or just different. Okay, and then second side, shoulder blade toward the spine, down toward the waist, away from the spine, up toward the ear. Finding the 4 points and then trying to smooth out the edges and make it circular. Next time the shoulder blade is retracting, drawing toward the spine, switch directions, rises up toward the ear, away from the spine, protract, down toward the waist, and then back in toward the spine. Continue through your circle till the shoulder blade is down, away from the ear, and then coming back to stillness. Feel the 2 shoulder blades. Feel the space between the 2 shoulder blades. Sense your spine running along the midline of your body. Let's reach the arms up toward the ceiling. Hands shoulder width apart, palms facing each other. Reach the arms up toward the ceiling. Feel how the shoulder blades lift away from the floor. And then keep that reaching up toward the ceiling, but then reach alongside the head. So arms coming down to or toward the ground. You could have palms facing up if you want, or in toward each other. Keep reaching. So shoulders will shrug up toward the ears. Let's push through the heels. So we're in this pretty simple full body stretch. And try to bring the front ribs down toward the floor. So if you put one hand on the bottom of the rib cage and you feel the ribs popping up, or if you were to look and see them popping up, see if you can bring them down. So the arms going overhead is happening from the shoulders rather than from the spine. Reach, 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 push to the heels. And then release your arms down alongside your body, relatively close to the body. Palms up or down. And now basically the opposite of what we just did. One arm slides down, so shoulder moves down away from the ear. That's that shoulder blade moving down, depression. And then relax that side and do the same thing on the other side. The arm is heavy on the ground. Reaching the hand down toward the foot. You might notice the head shifting a little bit. Let's bring the ear down toward the shoulder as the shoulder slides away from you. So we usually do like a nod no here, but this is a little bit different. It's a nod no, but then ear down toward the shoulder. So it's more actually less of a no and more of a side bend of your neck. Finding your pain-free range of motion. There might be sensation, but that's different from sharp shooting all of a sudden that we want to avoid. Notice if the sensation is different on the two sides. Maybe one shoulder moves more freely. Maybe you have stronger sensation in one side of the neck. Maybe the head just doesn't move as readily on one side. After your second side, make your way back to stillness at center. Notice what you notice. Reach your arms up toward the ceiling. Really reach the arms up so they're not just up there relaxed. They're actively reaching. And then from here, bring your arms alongside your ears again. You can let the palms be facing up. Let's do that. And hands shoulder width apart or maybe a little wider. Check if your ribs are popping up. That means your spine is helping to get your arms overhead. So bring the front ribs down toward the floor so the shoulders are moving independently of the spine. So now we're just going to reach one arm a little further to the wall behind you. Keeping the arm on the ground or as close to the ground as you can. And then alternating, reach, reach, reach through the arm, through the fingers. If you like, you can reach through same side heel, so we get a little bit more opening through the side body. Let's add rotation of the head to look toward the arm as it slides away from you. Head and eyeballs. Head is heavy. I'm not lifting the head at all. I'm just working within the range I can find, keeping the head down. After your second side, come back to center, release your arms down alongside your body. Noticing the inner atmosphere. Let's plant the feet about hip width apart and interlace your hands behind your head at the bottom of your skull. We've worked this basic movement a couple different ways, so you're welcome to do either. You can either keep your natural lumbar curve and keep neutral pelvis, or you can make the anterior and posterior tilt in your pelvis. It's good to switch it up. Okay, so as you inhale, we press the arm bones down and maybe rock to the tailbone and exaggerate the lumbar curve. And then exhale, curl up, lift your head, elbows together and toward the knees. And maybe press your lower back into the floor. Following your breath, other way to do it. Inhaling, arm bones press down, sacrum presses down, pelvis stays neutral. As you curl up, keep that little space between the lower spine and the floor, still bringing the elbows together. Find your rhythm a couple more times. Full breath in, long breath out. Let's add a rotation, but a tiny rotation. So curl up first with your exhale, and then just a tiny bit to the right. See if you can lift your elbows a little bit more up toward the ceiling and lift your right shoulder blade away from the ground. Back to center, inhale down. Exhale, curl up first to center, and then a slight bit off to your left or whatever your second side is. See if you can bring the elbows a little more up to the ceiling and lift the left shoulder blade away from the floor. Back to center, inhale down. Again, exhale, curl up to center, across the midline a little bit. Back to center, inhale down. Exhale, curl up, off to the side, tiny bit. Back to center, inhale down. And now let's go further across the midline. You can go right across the midline, exhale, curling up, elbows toward one hip. Inhaling down. Exhale, elbows toward the other hip. Couple more times. Alternating. Adding a little side bend these last couple rounds. So inhale, head down, elbows down. Reach one elbow. Let's reach left elbow toward the back wall. And then exhale, curl up to your right. Inhale, back down at center. Sweep the right elbow toward the wall behind you. Exhale, curl up toward your left hip. Try one more round, just like that. Side bend first. And then curl up across the midline. Side bend first. And then curl up. Coming back to center. Release your arms and slide your legs out straight. Noticing the field of sensation. Let's plant the feet. Come into your figure four, left ankle on right thigh. Use your left hand to nudge the left thigh away from you. You can stay here or bring the legs in, but without the hands. And let's just bring the legs in so the knee, right knee is stacked over right hip. Take a breath in here and then exhale, no hands. Draw the legs in closer to the body. Inhale, back out till the knee is stacked over the hip. Exhale, bring the legs in on their own power. Couple more times, make sure ribs aren't popping up. So you could keep your relatively neutral pelvis if you like when you draw the legs in for a different effect versus lower back pressing and butt really leaving the ground. I mean, butt's not really on the ground, but sacrum leaving the ground is a better way to say it. One more time, just like this. It's not necessarily a big movement because your hands end up doing a lot of the work, right? And then next time the legs come in closer, let's use the hand. We'll use right hand on left foot. So keep drawing your foot towards you, and you can use your left hand once again, reminding the left thigh to move away from you. Be sure you're not stretching the ankle when you pull the foot in, so the foot stays flexed, everybody. So we're keeping this left leg in close to the chest, and we're always working in stages. So if you feel like, nope, this is too much, you just stay where you were. Okay? An option to straighten the right leg. And let's not bring it down to the ground. Let's hover it a little bit off the ground and push through the heel. And now see if you can bring the right leg to the ground, but the thigh first. It's pretty much impossible for most of us, but that's just our intention. And then holding here for a few breaths, back of the thigh pressing down, push out through your heel. Slide the left leg a little to your right, and then a little to your left. So this airborne leg is shifting one way and the other, and then the other. So you might feel a little rocking of the pelvis side to side. Bring the leg back to center. And now you can use the left hand also to help bring the leg in. I'm not bringing the knee in and the foot away. I'm still working this external rotation of knee relatively away and foot in. But you can try to bring the whole leg in as a unit a little bit more. And then option to lift your head without tucking chin too much. Just make sure you have a little space between chin and chest. And think chest up toward the ceiling or up toward that leg. Bring the head back down. Release the leg. Let's release all together to Shavasana. Notice any difference between the two sides of the body. Okay, second side, planting the feet. Hopefully I can remember all that. We'll place the right ankle on the left thigh. And first just press the right hand into the right thigh, kind of nudging it away. Release your arms to the ground. Bring your left knee over your left hip. Let's take a breath in here and then exhale. Bring the legs in closer. No hands. Inhale, knee over hip. Exhale, bringing the legs closer in. So we're sensing our active range of motion, finding our active range of motion here. Rather than using the hands, it becomes passive. And then the arms are doing more of the work, yeah? Right foot is flexed here. We don't want the ankle to be in any kind of stretched shape. This side might feel completely different. It does for me. I'm like two different people. Not 16. One more time. And then keeping the legs in this closer position, or keeping the right leg closer, left hand to right foot. We're still nudging that right thigh away, the knee away. That's external rotation. Don't change the shape of your ankle. Keep the right foot flexed. Okay, so we're keeping this right leg as close to the chest as it works for you. Straightening the left leg, but not bringing it down to the ground. Just hover it. Push through the heel. And now slowly bring the leg down and do your best to bring the back of the thigh down first. Yeah, right. You keep pressing the leg down, pushing through the heel. And then we'll find that little shift of this right leg a little to the left and a little to the right. Go slow. Feel the tipping of the pelvis just slightly side to side. Doesn't have to be a big movement. Bring the leg back to center. If you want, you can use the right hand as well now. Hugging the leg in, it's passive range. And then maybe lifting your head and your shoulder blades off the ground. Tons of energy through that left leg. Slight tuck of the chin. Lifting the chest up. Releasing the head back down. Release the leg. Release all the way to Shavasana. Notice the two sides of your body. Feel where they meet in the middle. Okay, bend your knees, roll to your side. We're coming up to sit. Sitting in Baddha Konasana with the soles of your feet together and your knees apart. If your knees are really up, I would strongly recommend sitting on a cushion or the edge of a blanket. Okay, we're staying upright here for now. Soles of the feet together, knees apart. If it's available, grab hold of your feet or your ankles. If you have to round your spine excessively to get your hands down there, then just bring them higher up to your shins. Okay, so we don't want, I'm here already just to get to my feet. Okay, so sitting up pretty tall here, shoulders relaxed. And we're just going to lift off of one sitting bone. The knee will lift, the leg will lift, and then the other. Let's just start slow. So as you lift one side of your pelvis, notice what's engaging, what you're feeling. And then you can let the movement get a little faster so that it's more of a rocking motion. You might not be feeling a whole lot. That's okay. Just feel what's present for you. Coming back to our inquiry, how do the two sides differ, or do they? Just a couple more times here. And then we'll come back to center and come into a cross-legged seat. Again, elevating if your knees are up. Let your hands rest comfortably, probably on your thighs. Shrug your shoulders up toward your ears. That's elevation of the scapula, and then allow the shoulders to drop down away from the ears. Try that a few more times. Shoulders shrug up, and then release down. Try to give yourself at least a moment fully letting go, rather than gotta get the next one done right away before you finish this one. Shrug, pause at the end range for a moment, and then let the shoulders drop and pause in that relaxed state for a moment. One more time. Are the shoulders feeling the same way? Is the neck feeling the same on both sides? Isn't that interesting? And then allow your shoulders to rest down away from your ears. And let's circle one shoulder, either one. So this is up and forward and down and back. Slightly different circle than it was on the ground. That was more the shoulder blade. Now this is more the whole shoulder. So we again have these kind of 4 points of the compass, and we want to draw a circle as best we can. Switch directions. Notice that other shoulder is like, gotta do something, let it drop. Finding your greatest, safest range. There might be some clickety clack. And then once that shoulder drops down away from the ear, let it go. Notice two sides, two shoulders. Does one feel more alive? Different? And then we'll start with the second shoulder. Drawing it back, up, forward, and down. The hands relaxed. It doesn't need to move really. If you go fast, it's a lot harder to find your full range of motion. There's just really not time in a sense. So go slow enough that you can touch the edges of your abilities. Notice if the other shoulder's trying to get involved. Let it stay relaxed. Switch directions. And then once the shoulder drops down away from the ear, let it stay there for a moment. Just rest and notice. And now we'll send both shoulders in this circle at the same time, same direction, both shoulders. Really work the protraction, shoulders forward. Really work the retraction, shoulder blades squeezing. The body lays down tissue in response to load or movement. So if we don't move in a range, the body decides we don't need that range and doesn't really give it any energy or nourishment. Really important to work in all ways, switch directions. Once the shoulders are down away from the ears, pause for a moment. Now the fun stuff, we're going to send one shoulder forward and the other shoulder back. You might start one and then add the other. Try not to overthink it. Switch, so the shoulder that was going back is now going forward, and the shoulder that was going forward is now going back. You might suddenly feel like a fool, right? Like this isn't easy. It's not particularly challenging physically necessarily, but brain-wise, the brain can just kind of melt down here. So just give yourself grace and patience. Spiraling back to center, shoulders dropping. Relax the jaw. Okay, this is kind of a weird one. I'm gonna place an imaginary sponge on your forehead. And we're gonna do a side to side motion of like there's a piece of glass in front of you. Side to side, you can go a little lower, a little higher. See if you can go a little slower, like you're doing a little meditative cleaning of this glass with the sponge on your forehead. Believe it or not, I did not invent this. This is not me, this is Don Stapleton. And then come back to center and move the sponge to the back of your head. Now the glass is back there, and you're doing a little side to side wipe. Make sure your shoulders are relaxed. Notice if it's a different, slightly different quality of sensation with the movement of the sponge. Just once or twice more. Notice how far you can turn to one side versus the other. Gradually bringing your head back to center. Placing a paintbrush, imaginary paintbrush on the crown of your head. Imagine your ceiling is domed like a cathedral. And with your paintbrush on the crown of your head, draw an arc across the ceiling. So one ear goes toward the shoulder, and then the other. And is the sensation a little different than it would be if there were no visual of paintbrush and domed ceiling? Bring your head back to center. Can set the sponge and the paintbrush down. We're done with them. And from here, let's just take the hands to the upper jaw. So like just inward from your ears and just massage your jaw a little bit. Make sure your teeth are parted. Probably the lips too. You don't have to, no big technique here. Just feel around for the places that could benefit from a little pressure. You can drag the hands down or draw circles. Do the two sides of the jaw feel different? Maybe one feels ropier, more knotted. And then bring your hands to the back of your neck. And same idea, just a little mini self massage here. You know what feels good for you. Does one side of the neck feel different than the other? Are there knots in the same places? Are there no knots? Lucky you. And then let's just tap around the orbs of the eyes. If you have glasses, just tip them up or for a moment. You can take your index and middle finger tapping on the bones that circle your eyes. You can do around the bottom and up around the top if you want. Notice how you're breathing. Let's take a couple of exhales out through the mouth, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Shoulders are relaxed. You can apply a fair amount of pressure here with these taps. Whatever feels right for you. One more breath. And then let your hands rest on your legs. Maybe close your eyes if they aren't already. Noticing two sides of the body. Sensing your midline. Okay, coming back to Baddha Konasana, soles of the feet together, knees apart. This one might be a little tricky, sitting on a cushion, so you might come off of the cushion. We're again trying to get a grip on the feet or the ankles or whatever you can. And now we're going to do a little walk with the sitting bone. So it's that same lift of one side of the sitting bone, but see if you can shift it forward. Hopefully you have a little room in front of you. Walking forward. So the sitting bone lifts and it scoots forward, and that's what propels you forward. Keep the shoulders relaxed. The body's going to sway in response. And then start to retrace your steps, go backwards. Notice if you're starting to orient to one side, like maybe it's easier to lift and move one sitting bone versus the other. So you end up not being straight on anymore. Get all the way back to where you started. And then we'll come back to our cross-legged seat. Go to the awkward side. So if you always cross with one leg in front, switch it. You can sit up on your cushion again if you like. And then let's bring right hand to the ground, or maybe right forearm to the ground. But if that means your left sitting bone leaves the ground, I would stay a little higher up here. Okay, and then let's use the left hand to gently root your left thigh down and away a little bit. So it's a side stretch. I'm not letting this knee pop up. Keep that sense of rooting the leg, but now on its own. And bring your left arm up and alongside the ear. That's it. So you can keep pressing the left sitting bone down. Notice if your head is in front of your chest, bring it back in line with your chest. Chin is slightly tucked. And then look up toward your upper hand. And then down toward lower hand or elbow. Be sure you're not slumping into this shoulder. So shoulder down away from the ear on the right side. A couple more times. Look up and look down. Bring the head back to center. Bring the hand behind the head. And press the head back a little bit into the hand. Again, chin is slightly tucked. And then draw circles with your elbow. So head doesn't leave the hand. It stays slightly pressing back into the hand. Your circles could be really small. Maybe you get a sense of what it's like to circle the elbow and then grow the circles a little larger. Switch directions. Don't worry about freezing the head in place. Just keep it connected to the hand. Probably not exactly a circle. Mine is definitely not. It's like child scribble. Okay, and then once you're back to center, lean back a little so your head is in line with your spine, not forward. Reach the arm alongside the ear and then up toward the ceiling. And imagine you could pull on a rope or something to help you rise up. Releasing the arm down. Pause and notice two sides of the body. Switch the cross of the legs. Coming onto the left hand or maybe the left forearm, not if your whole right sitting bone leaves the floor then. Right hand on right thigh. Pressing the leg gently down and kind of away. Head in line with your spine. Your chest is a good point of reference. So if you're looking at your chest, you need to lean the head back a little bit so it's in line with the spine. And this left shoulder is down away from the ear rather than rather than shrugged up. Okay, now right leg continues to root down and kind of move away. Not really, but you can have this sense of me moving away from you on its own power, and right arm up alongside the ear. Let's turn the gaze toward the upper hand and then down toward the lower hand or elbow. A couple times looking up and down. Head back in line with the spine, hand to the back of the head. I like to cradle right at the bottom of the skull, drawing circles with your elbow, just allowing the body to follow. Maybe circles get quite large. Maybe they stay small. Switch directions. Circling back to center, head in line with the spine. Reach the arm alongside the ear, then up toward the ceiling, grabbing something imaginary so you can now pull yourself up and release the arm down. Pausing to notice what's here now. Okay, give yourself a sticky surface. So remove your blanket or grab your mat. Let's come into child's pose. Breathing into the back ribs. Rise up into downward facing dog. Pedal out the feet slowly and intentionally. You can look at the feet, at least for a moment, and notice if the toes are bending in the same way, or maybe you're kind of shearing out to the outer edge of the foot on one side. Maybe the two calves have different range. And then press both heels down toward the ground and push the floor away with both hands. Make sure the hands are rooting evenly. Notice if one hand connects to the floor differently than the other. Okay, from here we're coming into pigeon with the left leg forward. So you can get that way however you like. And if pigeon doesn't work for you with the hips level and the back leg straight, you can modify being on the left hip with the back leg bent, however much you need to. Let's stay up on the hands for now. Actively pressing this front lower leg down. I like to also press the top of the back foot down. And let's not do a big back bend here. So bottom front rib cage drawing to the back body, head in line with the sacrum, rather than arching through the lumbar. Take a few breaths here. Shoulders down, away from the ears. And now be kind of loose and free here. Let the hips go where they want to. We're going to look over one shoulder toward the back foot. And then over the other shoulder toward the back foot. While you're looking at it, make sure that your toes point straight back. They don't turn inward and the heel droop outward. So you can allow and even exaggerate movement of the hips as you look over each shoulder. I mean, you could roll to inner and outer edge of the foot. That might happen naturally. Coming back to center, tuck your back toes under, downward facing dog. Keep anchoring to midline. Second side, however works for you to get there. Bring your right leg forward, second side. Press the front lower leg down from the foot to the knee. Head in line with the rest of the spine, not dropping forward. Front bottom of the rib cage you might draw it to the back body. So we're not doing a back bend. Shoulders down. And now let's look over one shoulder and then the other. Alternating, let the hips move, don't freeze them in place. Come back to center, tuck your back toes under, press back, downward facing dog. Push the floor away with both hands. And let's stay grounded through the right leg and bring the left leg up and back to three-legged dog. And now we'll shift forward directly into pigeon. Laying the left leg down. You can slide the right leg back a little bit, but we're not staying. Tuck the back toes under. Sweep the left leg up and back, same side, left leg, three-legged dog. Exhale, shift forward to touch pigeon. You can even keep the back toes tucked under. A few more times. Maybe you're coordinating with the breath. Inhaling to three-legged dog. And exhaling to pigeon. Try to move with control rather than swinging and flinging. That's not easy, I know. So even if you're coordinating breath with movement, it can be a very slow, intentional movement. If this whole movement isn't working for you, find the parts that do, or the part that does. One more time. Let's touch our three-legged dog one more time whenever it fits into your flow. And then bring the leg down, downward facing dog. Second side, right leg rising up and back, three-legged dog. You can take the whole inhale to find that height. Exhale, bringing the right leg forward. Maybe sliding the left leg back, finding your pigeon. Find your rhythm. Flowing from three-legged dog. Both arms are straight, everybody, in three-legged dog. And pigeon. Maybe you keep the toes tucked under so we're not finding our biggest, deepest expression of down dog. More about the movement than the pose. And one more time, from three-legged dog to pigeon. And then from three-legged dog to downward facing dog. Lower your knees down to the ground. Let's flip the hands so palms face up, fingers point forward. Press down with the backs of your hands and imagine you could drag them back toward you. Bring your hands to the ground, palms down. We'll do a little kind of Gomukhasana shape pigeon walk. Forward first. So you can bring one knee forward and see if you can clear the foot, clearing this back knee so that the legs are crossed. And we'll do it again. You can start to walk your hands forward. So this leg is kind of swinging wide to get around the other leg. If you can, leg clears the floor rather than dragging along the floor. And I'm out of room, so now I'm going to reverse and go backwards. So I'm stacking one knee behind the other. And then come back to all fours. And we're touching pigeon one more time. Let's bring the left knee up toward the left hand. Maybe the left foot up toward the right hand. Maybe not. Walk your right leg back. Let's press the top of the back foot down and the front lower leg from knee to foot down. Neutral spine here, so ribs in. I commonly drop my head. I know a lot of you do too. So try to bring head up in line with the spine. And then see how strongly you can press this front lower leg down and maybe come off of the hands or just be less on the hands. Bring your hands back down. Scoot your back knee in. Coming through all fours. Maybe this leg can clear the floor rather than dragging along the floor. And then second side. Right knee up toward right wrist. Maybe the foot comes up toward the left wrist. Maybe it doesn't. Walk your left leg back, your back leg back. Press the top of the back foot down. Press the front lower leg down from the foot all the way to the knee. See if you can be lighter on the hands or hands free. Bring your hands back down. You can scoot your back knee in. Maybe you can lift this leg and not drag it so it clears the floor as it comes back. Child's pose. Please make your way onto your back once again. You might want your blocks for reclined cobbler, Supta Baddha Konasana. Let's just have them handy without placing them at first. So soles of the feet together, knees apart. Let the knees drop and see if the legs have the same quality of sensation and the same depth of stretch. You might already know, but beginner's mind. And then if you've got your blocks and you'd like to use them, place them under your outer knees so that your legs are level. Breathe into your back ribs. Training awareness to be present by tracking sensation. Following sensations in your body. Place imaginary weights on your inner thighs to create some resistance in your mind's eye for bringing the knees together and the feet flat. Separate your feet about hip width apart. If you're working with a block, place it underneath your sacrum. You can keep your feet planted or straighten your legs with your heels on the ground. If so, toes up rather than toes just dropping, so there's some engagement through the legs. Then maybe taking hands to the elbows up around the head. Push through your heels, stretch through your elbows. Breathe into the back ribs. Breathe into the sides of your torso. Bring your arms back down alongside your body. Plant your feet again. Lift up off of the block and slide it out. Articulate one spine at a time to come down. And make your way into Shavasana. Come back into the river of breath. Feel your body on the earth. Feel your body as a whole. And when you feel ready, gently, slowly make your way up to a seat. Let's join hands, palms together at heart center. Take a breath in. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, 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 peace. Thank you.